Hi, everyone. It's Rita Desnoyers-Garcia from the Calm Mom Alliance and Becoming Awake. It is my honor and privilege to have my colleague and friend Diane Noto talk to you today about unlocking the true power of your finances as a professional mom and a woman. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about debt because that's one of those things that people talk about kind of in hushed tones, but to have a real conversation about all these things, I think is really important and very empowering. So I'm going to let Diane take it away.
Great. Thank you, Rita. Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here. Just a little bit of background. First of all, yeah, I'm a debt solution strategist, but I'll give you some background about me. I've been an educator for 35 years. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in education and a master's degree in humanities, music, art, and literature. But 5 years ago, when I retired, I partnered with a team of financial professionals with more than 20 years at that point of experience in banking, the credit world, tax advising, bookkeeping, and even the Federal Reserve. So today I'm very happy to be with all of you and talk about that four-letter word, debt, as some see it, but also share with you about a system that's changing the way mortgages, credit cards, student loans, and more are being done in our country. Let me start with my PowerPoint. I know you can see it. Here we go. Maybe. Why don't you want to advance? There we go. Okay. Great technology is great when it works, right? Or the person operating it. Okay, so let me move our pictures out of the way too here too. Okay. So when you picture your financial well-being, what does it look like for you? Are you happy? Are you excited? You're kind of very calm about things, enjoying life with friends. Do you go to the beach or go to vacation spots where you love to go whenever? No worry about, money from, month to month. Or does it look more like this, where you are counting, your dollars, your dollar bills, your change to see how we're going to make ends meet? Are you running out of money before you run out of month, as we say? I mean, it can cause a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety, to the point of, health issues, and that's not good. But you're not alone. So that's something that all three of us, Jennifer, Rita, actually, and Lisa and myself, four of us, would like you to know it's not just you. It's a big world full of what we have, to worry about with debt. So a couple of little facts here. 80% of Americans have consumer debt. Okay. The second one is a little bit off because it says consumer debt, excluding mortgages, averages 38,000. Well, let's take a look at that. 38,000 could be your car by itself, right? What about $50,000 and more in your credit card debt, and so forth, any other personal loan? It's a lot higher than that, quite frankly. 49% of Americans depend on credit cards to cover essential living detail. Our pictures are in the way, but that's okay. But to cover all of that, I've worked with clients that's what they say. Well, I pay my groceries and my gasoline every month on my credit cards, but they're still only paying the minimums on the credit cards, and we'll talk about that. So that's a trap itself. Um, the nearly 40% of Americans that can't cover a $400 surprise, when you need a TV or you need something big, it's like, oh, great. This fact I love that there's between 45 years old and 54 years old, they have the greatest average debt. The clients that I've been working with lately are more than 60 and into their 70s, and they're still looking with substantial debt. Yeah. And 13% of Americans expect to be in debt for the rest of their lives. Yeah, we've had clients that actually say that to us. I think I'm going to be sending checks from heaven, quite frankly. So, but it's not your fault. So, what's happening? And this is what people need to understand. Okay. First of all, debt is big business in the United States. Four largest debts in our country average over $20 trillion. Ouch. That's a lot of money. Credit cards, 1.1 trillion, and these numbers have gone up. Car loans, 1 trillion, student loans, okay, 1.7 trillion, even into their 50s and 60s, student loans are still there. Mortgages, over 12 trillion. Lots and lots of debt. But the key to understanding the finances really is understanding how interest works. People just continue to just pay and figure, oh, well, how am I going to get out of it? This is part of life. So let's just take a look at this. Did you know that the average household spends 34.5 cents out of every dollar to pay interest on their debt? It's about a third, basically. So what could make a difference? We could create a budget, okay, but and stick to it. And some people are pretty good for a while, but it's almost like one of those New Year's resolutions that you make in January, but you give it up after a while because life happens in this case with your money. Hundreds of self-help books and on personal finances. Yeah, okay, they're out there. That takes a lot of time and discipline to really read through them to find what's going to work best for you. Okay, you could work with a debt coach. That's they're actually very helpful. Yeah, again, that takes time, that takes effort on your part to follow, what they're advising. And then, yeah, they always the joke, eat rice and beans until your debt's paid off. Peanut butter and jelly is what we always joke. That's not realistic either. But now, have you ever heard about good debt, the term? Well, good for who? Good for the bank, basically. Is there the only good debt is if you're an investor or if you can use it for business write-offs. But how much can you truly write off? So that's when, unless you have an accountant or someone that can bookkeeper that can actually help you with some of that, you don't know what's best. Oops. So take a look at these typical debts. There's a credit card, furniture loan, mortgage, motorhome loan, in this case, ATV loan, automobile loan. So which one of these debts do you pay first or do you work on first? Do you pick the one with the highest balance, the lowest balance, the lowest interest rate, or maybe no, we get rid of that highest interest rate is what people say. Well, quite frankly, interest rate does not equal interest rate when it comes to that interest, paying that for that period of time that it would pay off. Excuse me. So here are the six most popular options. Pay the minimum payments, and 60% of Americans do that. They pay the minimum payments on their credit cards and other loans, and that's not a bad thing. However, when we talk with our clients many times and they'll see that it's going to take them 50 years to pay off that credit card, like, yeah, because they don't understand that a lot of that money that they're paying on that particular minimum payment is going to the interest before it goes to the actual balance. So that balance continues to go up and up and up. And they wonder what's happening. I'm making my payments. What's happening? You can send extra money to principal. Yeah. But which one? Which one are your debts? All of them? Most people can't afford that. Which one? What do they pick? Refinancing or debt consolidation? It's another option, but there are extra fees attached to that that again people don't understand. I've had clients that have gone through the refinancing or gone through a debt consolidation thinking, oh yeah, we're going to be paid off in 2 years, only to find out they've got these other fees, put on top for them, and it's not going to work as well as they thought it was, sadly. Biweekly payments to your mortgage. A lot of people like to do that. It makes an extra payment for the whole year. That's fine. Hey, do something. I always tell our clients. The debt snowball, which is the pay the smallest balance first. I believe that's the Dave Ramsey way, which is great. It attacks one debt at a time and moves to the next. Again, that's something. Or debt avalanche is paying the highest interest rate first, and then you continue to move down to the next interest rate and so forth. Well, taking a look at some of the math that banks use, factorial math, average client, this is why this is highlighted, the average person has about six debts. And the ones I work with end up having 9 to 10 to 11 and even more. But with six debts, the average, there are 720 combinations. You're going to sit there and figure them out and see which one is best for me for each time you go in to pay whatever bill it is that you're working on. Absolutely not. That takes way too much time. This is my favorite. Okay. The tip is the total interest paid on a mortgage. Okay. But it's funny that the acronym is TIP because technically that's kind of what it is, really. If you take a look at your mortgage, if you have a mortgage and take a look at into the third, fourth page of it, it's the TIP, the total interest percentage. And what it is showing you that if you continue to make your payments for that 30 years, 20 years, whatever it is you took out your mortgage for. Now these days is they're starting to give out or give out. They're starting to offer 40-year mortgages. Ouch. Who's that good for? Who's that benefiting? Really, but anyway, but that particular, if you continue for that full time that you took your mortgage, took your mortgage out, you're going to be paying that much more. And I'll explain more and show you more. Come on. There we go. Okay, so this is just an example. So this is a $200,000 mortgage for 30 years. It's at a 4.5% interest and $113, excuse me, $1,013 a month. Imagine paying $100 on your mortgage every month. You'd be paying it forever. But anyway, okay. So in this case, it's showing first year pretty much the principal 3,000. Now that's making $1,013 a month payment every single month. By the end of the year, about 3,226 on the principal, over 8,000 went to the interest. Okay, very much so. These loans are interest heavy. So you'd pay a lot of that, the interest up front in the first many years, 10, 15 years, more than on the actual principal itself. Here's the second year, not much difference. Now let's go up to 20 years later. 20 years later, both principal and interest, you've already paid in $243,000. Now remember, the loan was $200,000. You paid $243,000 on principal and interest, and they still owe $97,000 in principal yet. Yeah. Now fast forward up to 30 years. 30 years payoff, principal and interest. Now you've paid off $365,000. That's you paid into the bank on a $200,000 loan. That's $164,813 in interest. Yeah. Uh-huh. Far cry away from that 4.5% interest. So when people say, oh, it's just 4.5%, or and of course, where can you get that these days? But some of our older clients still have some of the low. I found one the other day was 2.5%. It's like, yay, good for you. But for paying all those years, you're still putting away and still tipping the bank quite a bit of interest. But that's where the people have a wake up call on that realization. So more people than ever are entering retirement with debt. You know, still going on. I had my first clients; they were in their 70s, still had quite a bit of debt. Many can never retire. They may retire and that they get another job, they get something else to do, or they depend on family for assistance. Some move in with their family so they can babysit, the grandchildren, be with their family, but they really need help. Is what they need. According to the Social Security Administration, okay, so the average check is around $1,700 a month. And what I like is when you get that check, or not the check, excuse me, the letter right before um, your Social Security, before you're eligible to get Social Security for yourself. And they basically tell you the amount, and they also let you know that this is not going to be enough to sustain you every single month, to meet your needs. So I always joke and say, really, now a warning? Now you're telling me this? Not good. And this is something that always kind of takes me back, to have an extra $1,000 a month if you want to have it for yourself. You actually need to have $600,000 sitting in a regular bank account, not investing, regular bank account at a minimum of 2% interest. Who does that? Not many. They really don't. And basically, take a look at this pie chart down here that people above 65 are working, majority are still working, financially struggling. Sadly, some are dead. And out of all of them, it's only 5% that are really financially fit, unless they start working with a financial advisor as well and start planning ahead, right, Lisa? But here's some other things too. I mean, people face working, forever, helping their kids with college expenses, taking care of aging parents, helping their kids buy a house. So what's preventing you from building your future? Excuse me. Financial security can involve many tools. It can be simple or complicated, but however, no matter what you choose, it does involve the desire for change. So if there's a tool that could put you and your personal finances on autopilot and get you to where your goals are headed or where you'd like them to head, would you want to learn a little bit about it? How would life be different if you had no debt or even little debt? Many times that it's just a matter of getting a handle on your debt, getting in control so that you do have more money left over to invest or invest in real estate, to buy that boat, whatever it is you're looking for. So save that interest in what we call that happy money. So as I said earlier, talk about debt. Debt's that four little word to some people, but so is hope. So this is just a little quick overview. The names on the top are just fictitious, but this is an actual analysis, savings analysis that we put together for our clients. This client has a debt, excuse me, has a mortgage, two loans, personal loans, three credit cards totaling $344,400. Total debt payments for the month are $2,627.84 right here. So then we look at their base monthly income minus the expenses, and then we come up with a discretionary income amount, meaning that they need a little bit more money above what I always call it their Starbucks money, that money that they're not spending on something at the end of the month. Now it could be $1, as little as $1. We've done that with clients. Or it could be as much as $1,000. It depends on the individual, quite frankly. But here's some fun facts. Look at this one. This month this person would pay over $1,500 in interest alone. That's 58% of their monthly payment. Remember, their monthly payment is 2,627. Ouch. How about this? You're going to spend $3.24 for every dollar that they pay in principal on the mortgage. Wow. So a lot of it's going more, like I said, more of it's going to that to the interest. And how about this one? It'll be March of 2034. Now, this was done back in 2020, March of 2034, before this individual's paid off half of their debt, and they'll still owe $172,000. Yeah, that's a lot. It really is. So then it compares Bank's way to the debt shredder way, and then how much they'll save. So if they stay Bank's way, they'll be paying $573,557. Okay, on a balance that was 300 right here. The balance was up here, 344,400. Okay, that's 229,157 in interest, and they still have 29.4 years to pay. And then what do you have to show for it at the end, right? No savings, nothing like that. With our savings system now, they're only going to be paying $85,767, saving 10, and now they're going to be paid off in 10.5 years, not 29, 10.5 on all of the debt. Okay, that's a savings of $143,390 in interest. But here's my favorite part, right here, right here. By them paying off in 10.5 years all of their debt, if they take that $2,627 and invest it, even just a bare bones 1% interest or rate of return, it could equate in the rest of those 18 years that they would have to go in the old way. It would be, my gosh, over $750,000. And that's only on a 1% rate of return. Now, obviously, life is going to continue, and they're not going to be able to put all of that. But I'm telling you, if you work with a financial advisor, they can definitely get you more than 1%. We always joke, if they can't get you more than 1%, find a new advisor. But I know for a fact that they can, most definitely. So here we go. So with no more years of debt payments, what would you do? Take more vacations, build your retirement accounts, buy a vacation home, invest in real estate, invest in the markets, work with a financial advisor. Many people say, "Oh, I don't have that kind of money to work with a financial advisor." Not true. It definitely can be there. So possibilities are endless. And that's my information. If anyone would like to talk with me, I'd be happy to do that. And thanks again, Rita, so much for letting me be a part of this today.
That was awesome. I love that it was very brief and concise and very clear. Does anyone have any questions before we let Diane go? Oh, I think Lisa, you're muted.
Are we still recording?
Yes.
I just had a question on that example at the end there, the bank way on the left. Like, what way was that? Like the jet shredder, your guys doing all your analysis. What's the best way? What's the way on the left?
Well, the way on the left is the bank's way. The middle is our way, and then the right is just the savings, the amount of savings.
What is the bank's way? Is that paying off the highest first, or just paying the minimum of all of them, or do we know?
The bank's way is just the way that the banks typically do. They just require you to pay your principal and interest every single month just the way you've always been doing it. It's up to you if you put additional on it, and so forth. Some people, like we say, they always kind of throw money at their debt and hoping something will stick. But however, let's say if you're a mortgage, you're scheduled for 30 years. They just want you to pay that money for 30 years. It's just the typical regular way.
Yeah,
People
I
have
get
those
you.
other solutions. They can pay the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, refinance. They can do all of that, but is that the best way? That's what it is. With our system, what they do is it takes a look at everything all together. Doesn't use one banking strategy. It's not based on that, but taking a look at your debt, your income, and your expenses. So to compute using bank algorithms, just like the banks use, but this time it's to the client's benefit. Using that system, finding the fastest path to zero, and it works. Every one of our clients pay off in half to a third to half the time, quite frankly. And that interest savings is huge. You just can't argue with it.
All right. Awesome. Well, Diane, thank you so much. I think you've probably given a lot of women some hope about what they can do to take control of their finances, especially if they're in debt. Because I know that feeling of being in debt, it's not good. It's like another burden. It's like another thing to try to figure out. So to have the help of any of you ladies, I think is really powerful to have someone who knows what they're doing working with you. It's like, don't try to cut your own hair. It doesn't come out very well, right? We've all done that. So thanks again, and I'm going to stop for the recording and we'll chat afterwards.
Very good.
Okay.